Hey, runi rahili lani a awida e uga I palika holola o kei kuali o ili holonopu ho ala mena lui kamari e. Ka uia ka ua ke a I palawai o pawili kamakani o haalele paakai de rui he wawake ka nakapi I kulo o lana I hale. Meha sa urula u inuita li au I ho pulu I hawaia au. As
we begin the 21st century, population growth, environmental degradation and destruction, climate change, and the constant pursuit of economic growth threaten the well-being of our planet. One of the most pressing issues of our time is whether or not we, as a human collective, can achieve a level of sustainability that will allow the Earth to continue to support human life. Simply defined, sustainability is the capacity of systems and processes to endure, to be supported, upheld, and confirmed. Sustainability entails the supporting of a human community with its social and economic needs while making the least possible impact on the environment. In Hawaii, on the island of Lanai, a serious effort is underway to create a sustainable community that could potentially become a model for other island communities. The island of Lanai is the 6th largest island in the Hawaiian archipelago. With 141 square miles of land, today it is home to over 3,000 residents. Once the home of thousands of native Hawaiians, after contact with the outside world, the indigenous population began to decline. For the most part, Western ways have replaced traditional Hawaiian ways, but the island remains a vibrant and storied landscape, steeped in a living awareness of its past. Almost all of Lanai has been privately owned or controlled since the advent of private property ownership in Hawaii in the mid-19th century. Over the years, the island has supported sheep ranching, cattle ranching, a vast pineapple plantation, and more recently has become a tourist destination. In 2012, entrepreneur Larry Ellison purchased 98% of Lanai from Castle & Cook Incorporated. His vision for the island is that one day it will be a sustainable community. With this goal, the island is run by the managing company Pūlama Lāna, and together with the community, Pūlama Lāna is developing a plan of transformation.
We're not really seeing ourselves as the only participant. We're not the only master planner. So we try to engage with smaller groups, with church groups, or different clubs, organizations on Lanai. And then there's information you glean as you just spend time walking around and listening to people. But constantly learning and getting feedback and then making course corrections, making adjustments along the way.
Sustainability is often spoken of as having 3 main pillars of support: environmental sustainability, social sustainability, and economic sustainability. Added to this model, the cultural ideals and values of Lanai's past are being used as the inspiration and guiding principles for the future.
Cultural attachment, an understanding of who we are in our landscape, and that we are a part of a legacy, helps inform us. We can look at the traditions of the past and see where, particularly like on Lanai or here in Hawaii, we have a great history of sustainability, living within the wealth and limitations of the honua ola, the living environment around us. You can't divorce nature from culture in a Hawaiian mind, right? You have to recognize that nature is the parent of the culture, that they are intertwined, woven together beautifully.
On Lanai, establishing economic sustainability is of prime importance. For several decades, the island has struggled with economic instability and an uncertain economic future.
So if there is an economy that's healthy enough on Lanai that can pay for itself, and whatever profits are made become reinvested into Lanai in the future. That would help give the residents that assurance, the self-assurance that there is a future, there is an invested future for them and their future generations on Lanai.
Pūlama Lāna has focused its economic efforts on the hospitality industry. With the benefit of hindsight, it has reimagined and extensively renovated the hotel at Manele Bay. There are plans to renovate and reopen Ko'ele Lodge, the other major hotel on the island. But because Lanai is a small island, a high volume of visitors is not desirable. Too many visitors would change the character of the island, tax the natural resources, and possibly harm the environment.
We're focusing on a lower density type of a model. So the clientele that we're after is a higher spending clientele, and we imagine that as a way to be successful economically, but having a lighter footprint on the island.
Historically, Lanai has always been economically driven by one industry: ranching, a pineapple plantation, and now the hospitality industry. While there are dozens of small businesses on the island, the majority of their revenue is somehow derived from the hospitality industry through the direct business of visitors or through the purchases of residents earning wages in the industry.
So hopefully in the future, once we get the hospitality economy stabilized, then we can start looking at how we can add additional layers. The hospitality industry is not something that is immune to cyclical changes. So it'd be good to have other types of businesses on the island so it can cushion the island. In our economy today, it's not necessarily important to be an entrepreneur that is bricks and mortar based. You can have entrepreneurs on Lanai that could be based there for the lifestyle, but they could be doing business anywhere in the world.
Social sustainability encompasses many topics, including health, community development, social equity, social support, livability, and more. In general, it could be thought of as the continued well-being of the people who inhabit the environment. Ideally, this well-being occurs with the least damage to the environment. Two social challenges on Lanai are affordable housing and food. As on the other Hawaiian islands, land and houses are expensive to purchase and affordable rentals are hard to find. Residents are also dependent on imported food to meet their needs.
So one of the cornerstones of sustainability is the availability of food. Right now, well over 90% of the food that is consumed on Lanai is imported. So it's dependent on the arrival of the barge or of air-flown foods, which of course is very expensive and therefore not very sustainable.
Most food and material goods come from Oahu by barge, landing at Kaumalapa'u Harbor.
Our disadvantage is we are on the southwestern or west-south sort of facing shore area, and so when we get Kona, the Naulu storms coming in, the harbor is inaccessible. The barges can't make it in. So it's interesting on Lanai, because we rely so heavily on import at this time. No more barge for a week, no milk, no vegetables, no food, all that. The shelves start to get bare pretty quickly. In fact, there are times where we actually air freight stuff in.
At this time, we are exploring different agricultural activities on the island, including organic and free-range pig farm, also a chicken egg farm. There's a variety of produce that is already produced on the island and looking to expand that. We're looking at hydroponically grown vegetables, which are very efficient in the use of water because it's able to be recirculated.
Being a small community, life on Lanai has many advantages. Almost all of the population lives in Lanai City, where the climate is cool and pleasant. The town is centered around Dole Park, an inviting green space, and the island is a very safe place for people of all ages. There are facilities that support community needs, including a public school, a public recreation center, a senior citizen center, a hospital, a University of Hawaii extension program, and a refurbished state-of-the-art movie theater. Cultural and resource management education are also playing a key role in the vision of sustainability.
So come on in, gather right around this area here for now, okay? Make sure that all of your Haumana classmates can get inside, okay? We bring stories of the past, these legacy traditions, to our students, connect them to place. How does care for the land lead to sustainable water sources? How does care of the ocean, of the kailawai'a, the fisheries, how does that feed us and also keep an ecosystem more healthy and balanced?
We're here at Waiopai Fish Pond. This is on the east side of Lanai. This is the largest fish pond or local i'a on Lanai. The wall, when completed, will be over 2,000 feet long. You could almost think of it as actually farming limu, or growing the food for the fish to eat. The walls provided protection from predatory fish that would not be able to enter. At the right size, then they could be harvested. They were very important in ancient days because they provided a food source, fish protein that possibly in bad weather you weren't able to fish in the open ocean in a canoe for maybe weeks at a time, so you still had an opportunity to consume fish.
A lot of times in natural resources or cultural resources, it's not the work that's right in front of you that is that important. It is educating and planting the seeds in the next generation that will continue on the work. We'll never do it in one lifetime. And so education is absolutely paramount in the success of any sustainable initiative.
As ideas about social sustainability on Lanai evolve, they include a future that maintains the continuity of family, place, and community traditions.
One of the things for me that would be a measure of a sustainable community in the future is one where the generations decide that they want to return. When it was a plantation community, it wasn't a common thing for the second or third generation to really be pointed by their families to find careers that would bring them back home. We were all taught to look outside of Lanai for our future. As a result, the traditions and the cultures and the norms on the island slowly get eroded over time when you don't have subsequent generations coming back to just keep reinforcing those traditions.
All life on our planet rests on the health of our environments and ecosystems. Environmental sustainability is imperative to the survival of human life and the life of other organisms. In a sustainable environment that supports a community, the resources that the community draws from the environment are renewable and do not permanently deplete the environment. Resilience is a key factor.
Communities change, populations change, ideals change, and sustainability has a lot to do with the resilience to those changes, whether they're human influence or natural disasters or whatnot. And that's really what sustainability is all about. It's the ability to sustain through foreseen and unforeseen circumstances.
Renewable energy is being actively developed, and 10% of the island's energy is now produced by the sun. Water on Lanai has always been scarce, and water available from the aquifer is limited. The island has ample agricultural lands, but not much water.
Desalination is an option that we're looking into, and looking at the different options to be able to incorporate that technology into the overall water budget and availability on the island. Of course, conservation measures, rainwater harvesting, and cultivation techniques, investigating mulching alternatives so that the water that we do have goes much further, and irrigation technologies that will minimize water use and maximize the benefit.
In seeking sustainability, Pūlama Lāna is also facing the challenges of remediating some of the larger environmental issues that affect the island ecosystem as a whole.
The efforts that we're doing are huge initiatives. These are things that are going to take a long time.
Natural erosion occurs in the uplands through wind and rain, but introduced mammals, specifically hoofed animals, have seriously accelerated erosion. Today, axis deer and mouflon sheep roam much of the island. Accelerated erosion is particularly evident along the windward coast, where suspended sediment has washed down, noticeably discoloring the shoreline.
This has been happening for many, many decades. It's evidenced in the accretion, really, of the shoreline from where it was, say, 100 years ago with white sandy beaches. In some places, the coastline is now 300 yards towards the ocean. This is a considerable issue because it's covering up those nearshore reefs.
Because island residents depend on deer as a food source, total eradication of the game animals would not be in balance with sustainability. Alternative strategies include removing animals from particular areas and enhancing recovery in those areas. Ways of capturing sediment and water before they reach the shoreline are being explored. Environmental restoration activities are also underway. A crucial part of restoration is to carefully ask questions and define a problem before prescribing a solution. Pūlama Lāna is now engaged in exploring the most efficient and effective ways it might manage restoration.
In the meantime, there's a lot of some easy picks, if you will, some quick solutions that we can do. You see a weed, you pull it. Do we need to replace that with a different plant, a plant that's more appropriate in that area? Do we see predators that are threatening endangered seabird species, for instance, and how do we deal with that issue? So there's a lot of things that we can do to take care of the issues that are right in front of us. So we have a lot to learn about the natural environment in Hawaii and really all over the world. And it's very important that we take those lessons in. We take advantage of those lessons and what they teach us about being inhabitants of the planet. And in that short tenure that we've had here, we need to consider ourselves guests, and we need to be better guests than we have been.
But most of the ideas that we have are pretty humble. I think there's this notion that we're going to come in and we're going to totally overhaul the life on the island. To us, success would be that we can reach sustainability without changing the character of the island. That would be an important goal for us to achieve because the character of the island is something that makes Lanai special.
Here's maybe a Hawaiian expression of sustainability, but it was a way of life. It wasn't just words on the tip of the tongue. Ha-na-ya ai. When you're a lawai'a, you go out or you go on the land, you feed it, you give it nutrition, you care for it, and what does it do?